Do you feel like you're firefighting on your projects, even grasping at straws just to get things on track? Oh my goodness, you do not have to go through that, because in this video, I'm going to share with you 3 basic techniques you need to know in order to get your projects back on track so that they can be successful and that you are feeling confident. Let's talk about people. People are critical to your project. You cannot be successful without them. Yet, interestingly enough, project managers, project leads, it's really easy to get lost on the tactical tasks and to only think of your project from a task focus. But if you do that, then you are going to forget about the people. And when you forget about the people, what do? You start to go directly to the tasks, and you can start rubbing people, your team, the wrong way. You do not want to do that. That leads to issues for you in your project because people feel slighted. People have feelings. You have to bring in emotional intelligence. You have to pick up on those cues and be more sensitive than, let's say, someone else would be if they're a team member, because as the lead, you're leading by example. So people first is really important from a standpoint of keeping your project on track and stopping firefighting. Because if you're connected to your team members, then you're going to pick up on when things are going south or getting derailed. And they're going to also come up to you and speak to you too. So how do you do all that from a people first perspective? There are some really simple, easy techniques you can implement immediately. One of those are get very clear with roles, responsibilities, and expectations. So if you haven't done any of that inside some sort of formal documentation, then I highly recommend that you just have a meeting at the beginning, spend the first 10 minutes saying, hey guys, I just want to check in with you. I know some things are happening within our project, so I just want to get clarity as to what do we expect from each other when it comes to making this project successful. That's a really good, easy technique. Just do a round robin where you just ask each person in the room to speak up and give something from a standpoint of their perspective. And then you write that down and you start to follow it. You can kind of make it like the rules of the project. That's a very simple technique. Another way to put people first is to acknowledge when they do great work. Oh my goodness, simple, but yet how often do we do that? How often are we so wrapped up in our projects on the next task that even though they did something great, well, they have something else to do now, so we forget about it. Take that 5 minutes, send out a congratulatory email. Even so, another really cool technique is to get your team bonding, which helps with putting the people first. And I've done this myself. In fact, just recently on a project, is have each team member at the beginning of a meeting bring about their inspirational quote that inspires them to plow through when things are tough. Like, how cool is that? So now you have a slew of inspirational quotes that people are sharing with you and the rest of the team. Here's what I do when things are tough and it lifts me up. And now you're basically putting people first, getting everyone connected, which I promise you gets you out of the deep end and actually gets everyone synergistic and in synergy, working collectively as a unit. Okay, little side note, stop. If you are taking down notes, please don't, because I have for you these tips that I'm talking about in this video and 3 more in a document that I'm going to share with you on how to get in a few minutes. So just listen. Take it in, it's going to help you. Ensure you have clear processes and really strong strategy. That is going to help you whenever you're on that firefighting path or you feel like things aren't going forward the way they need to be. You have to fall back on the plan that you've created. That's where the strategy comes in. That's where the clear process. So when I say clear processes, I mean, how are you disseminating your information? Is your information consistent? Is everyone getting the same thing? Do you have a series of documents that you use all the time for your projects? Do all of your team members understand where those series of documents are? And are those series of documents linked to the strategy? Do they have access to them? So one of the tips that I do that I'm a firm believer is you need to have a central location for all of your documents. You do this for a couple of reasons. One is it's a central location. So now everybody knows where to go. This is when you teach people how to fish versus fishing for them, right? Here's where the documents are, go check them out. It's important because now you're going to make sure that everyone is working off the right version, which brings me to why you do it as a second tip. It's version control. How many times have you been on a project where someone worked on the wrong version? Why? Because darn it, they emailed versions out to everybody. Don't do that. That clear process, clear strategy really know what you're going to be working with and put it all centrally. I like to use SharePoint. You can make them look pretty. It can look like a website, and by doing that, it actually tracks your team members to go because it's their one-stop shop for everything they need. And once you have everything at their fingertips, they can really be successful in moving forward to really deliver on what they're supposed to deliver as a subject matter expert. Focus on getting buy-in with your key team members. Buy-in is going to be critical to eliminating stuff that goes off the rails or any roadblocks that come up. Because if people bought into what it is that you're doing, they're going to do everything in their power to ensure that everyone is following through on what everyone agreed to and bought into. Now, how do you do this? It's not difficult. It is, however, strategic, and you have to do it at the right moment. So you need to do it at the beginning of the project. This is why when you kick off a project, you do it once you get all of your documentations together. In fact, you do it with a document called the charter. And in my program, Slay Project Management course, I actually have that charter and I lay everything out on what you need and how you have to go fill it out. But that charter is going to lay out expectations, responsibilities, roles, the project scope, the milestones, everything. And the magic is the signatures. That signatures brings in the buy-in. So what I do when I do my kickoffs is I will have everyone read up on it, ask them if they have questions, and then at the end say, all right, if you're in agreement with everything that was said here, please sign off on the charter. This is now your contract in a way, saying that you have bought into what we're doing and how we're going to go about doing it. Why is this so important? Because there will be people on your project, if you don't do this, who have not bought in and did not say anything to you. Happens all the time. How many times have you been on a project, whether you've led one or been a team member, and you know someone is not fully bought into what's doing this? In fact, they say, I don't understand why we're doing this. And then they, maybe not purposefully, but maybe don't do the due diligence they're supposed to because they haven't bought in. That's why it's so important to get clarity. Now, your charter is that document to help you with that clarity. And the signatures is the technique to get people out in the open to say that they've bought in. Why is that? Because people who choose not to sign the charter when you ask everyone to do it are the ones who haven't bought in, because they don't want to be accountable to their name being on there. I promise you it happens every single time. Someone who does not want to sign it, they're the individuals that are going to give me the hard time because they haven't bought in. So that's a technique that works. The first time you do it, it feels a little awkward, but the more you do it, you're going to love it because it saves you headache and hassle. And isn't it nice to know at the beginning of your project when you kick it off at your meeting that, hey, I need to work a little bit more with this person versus finding things out down the road through back channels and the politics because that person didn't really bought in. If you're going to fix it and you're going to really ensure that you don't have that, you got to address it at the beginning. All right, now that you know those 3 tips on how to stop your project from struggling, remember I told you don't take notes. Why? Because I have this for you. It is the other tips, including the ones we talked about in this video. Please, you know how you're going to get it? You're going to go to the download underneath this video, and there's a link for a download. You're going to go grab it. It's free. It's my gift to you. I so appreciate you being on this channel and learning from me. So on that note, please, if you really enjoyed this, give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and I have another video for you to watch, so go check it out. On that note, see you at the next video.